This course that you're taking part in right now introduces Lego NXT robots and programming. The NXT is just one of the robots that Lego offers, and in addition, there are also other excellent robots out there that are equally simple to program. In this lesson, I'm going to talk a little bit about why we chose the Lego NXT for this course, and also show you how to find out about some other robots that we're not going to talk about in this class, but that you might also want to take a look at. All of the Lego Mindstorms robots start out with what looks like a giant fancy piece of Lego, but is really actually a small computer. You're going to be building a robot around this brick. So here's an example of a robot that I've built. You can see the brick in the middle, and you can see how there's different cables coming in and out of the brick. The first Lego robot came out in the 1990s and was based on the RCX brick. You can still find these on eBay, and some people do still use them, but they're not really supported by Lego anymore, and really you should probably think of them mostly as antiques. The Lego NXT is the platform we're going to be covering in this course. We're actually taping this in the summer of 2013, and Lego is currently just releasing the educational version of a new brick called the EV3. The commercial version of that is due out soon. So hang on, if there's a new piece of hardware coming out, why did we decide to cover the NXT instead of the EV3? Well, there's several reasons, but most importantly, the point of this course is to introduce robot programming to as many teachers as possible. There are a lot of NXT robots in a lot of schools and homes right now, and very few EV3s around. So we decided it made sense to start with the NXT. Also, once you learn how to program an NXT, if you do end up buying some EV3s, you'll find that programming an EV3 is very similar. So just to show you what I mean, here's the NXT software, and if we want to say wait until the robot senses something roughly 25 centimeters away, here's a wait distance block, and we can change it down at the bottom from centimeters to inches, and we'll change the distance, let's say, to 25 centimeters. So we added all the information down here in the configuration panel, and we just said use centimeters and make the distance less than 25, and we're going to be using the ultrasonic sensor, which is the distance sensor. If you take a look at the EV3 software, it's a little bit curvier than the NXT software, but it's still very similar. We're going to grab a weight brick and plug it in. The EV3 software uses drop-down menus, so we're going to wait for the ultrasonic sensor, and we're going to do a comparison in centimeters, so it's all kind of drop-down. And we're going to wait until it's less than 25 centimeters away. So it looks a little different, it's a little curvier, we use some drop-down menus here, but more or less you're doing the same thing. The NXT robots and software are still for sale, and Lego says that they'll be selling and supporting them for a couple more years. If you happen to be in the uncommon but very fortunate position to have enough money to buy a pile of robots, then sure, I recommend you go for the new technology and buy the EV3s. But if you're like most people and maybe have one or several NXT robotics already, that's fantastic too. They are great robots, and this course will help you learn to use them. The next question you might have is, why Lego robotics and not some other platform? Again, there's several reasons, the first being the same as before. Lego robots are just so darn popular with schools, it seemed like the obvious choice. In addition, I'm a big fan of First Lego League, also known as FLL, a program in which teams of up to 10 kids between the ages of 9 and 14 take part in a very friendly competition that includes Lego robot programming and a research project with a focus on teamwork and good sportsmanship. Full disclosure, I've been co-chairing an FLL event here at Rowan for many years now, but I don't receive any compensation for it. I do it because I think FLL is such an amazing program. But back to this course. While I'd love for all of you to integrate what you learn here into your regular school day curriculum, I know that for many of you that's not an option. However, creating an after-school robotics club may work for you, and FLL is a really great context for such a club. Another reason we're using Lego robotics for this course is that they use a graphical programming language. you've already had a first taste of what that looks like. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like. We'll go through all of this later in the lessons, but we already have this block that says it's going to wait for an ultrasonic sensor. And we just tell the robot what to do by dragging around blocks on the screen. So maybe I tell the robot to move a bit, I don't know, for 1 second. And then maybe I'll tell the robot to draw a picture on its screen of maybe a stop sign. And maybe after that, I'll tell the robot to say good morning.
Good morning.
And then maybe I'll tell the robot to drive backwards for 1 second. So I'm going to tell it to go backwards for 1 second. There's nothing wrong with traditional text-based programming languages. I use them all the time, and I don't imagine that professional programmers are ever going to use anything else. But if you're watching this, you're probably not a professional programmer. And graphical programming languages are definitely much less intimidating to most people, and they're often designed in ways that help the novice programmer to succeed. So for our purposes, a graphical programming language is definitely a good thing. There are actually a lot of other fantastic robots that are appropriate for use in K-12 classrooms and that can be programmed with graphical languages. This slide shows you a few examples. While they're not the subject of this course, we've put up information about other robots in the resources section, and I really encourage you to check them out too. But for now, I'm hoping you've already got access to an NXT robot, and I'm really looking forward to working with you over the next few weeks to turn those of you who've never touched a robot before and may even be a little bit wary about them into real robot enthusiasts.